Jim. The Adventures of Jungle Jim, broadcast weekly over this station, are dramatized from the full-color action pictures to be found in the Comic Weekly, the world's greatest comic supplement that comes to you each week with your Hearst Sunday newspaper. Join the 11 million adults and 6 million youngsters who make their weekends more enjoyable reading the world's greatest comic and adventure pictures by the world's best artists featured in every issue of the Comic Weekly. Insist on the Sunday newspaper that brings you the Comic Weekly. Safely transferred from the submarine that rescued them from the lonely Pacific island to a United States liner, Jim and Kitty are just beginning to breathe easily again amid the comforts of the luxury liner. The first thing Jim wants to do is send radio messages back to Singapore, assuring all his friends that he wasn't drowned at sea, but is alive and well. One of the ship's officers, who has accompanied Jim to his stateroom, volunteers to take the messages up to the radio room. And when Jim gives him the name and address of the first person to receive the message, the ship's officer springs a terrific surprise on Jim.
Hey, hold on there a minute. Give me a chance to get this, will you? Are you sure that Miss Lily DeVril is aboard this boat?
As sure as I am that you're on it. Don't you remember meeting the doctor coming out of a stateroom up forward as we were looking for your space? And I asked him how the lady in A14 was doing?
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, that's Miss DeVril. She has A14 just a few doors down.
What?
The doctor was attending her because she collapsed just about the time you were being transferred from that sub.
Well, I'll be hanged if that isn't the strangest coincidence of my entire career.
Oh, then you know Miss DeVril, huh, Mr. Bradley?
Know her?
Yeah.
Good Lord, man, we've been partners in business for years. She worked side by side with me on all my toughest, most dangerous cases.
And then it's no wonder she collapsed. She, like everyone else, had given you up as dead. And weeks later, a submarine rises up out of the sea and delivers you alive and well almost at her feet. That was a big enough shock to knock anyone over.
Yeah, but say, what the heck are we standing here gabbing about it for? Say, I've got to get busy. Oh, where in the dickens is that purser? The clean clothes he promised me. Now, look, never mind about those messages now. They can go later. Do me a favor pronto, will you? Find that purser and tell him to rush my clothes up here right away.
Okay, Mr. Bradley. He'll have them here in 5 minutes if I have to get them myself. You get busy with your shower and shave, and I'll get you the clothes right away. Oh, Miss Connor. Miss Connor, wait a minute.
Yes, Mr. Whalen. What is it?
How's the patient in 14A?
Oh, she's resting quietly. I'm just going in to see her now. Miss Andrews was with her up to a few minutes ago and said she was all right. I'm relieving Miss Andrews.
Okay, Miss O'Connor. Now, do you suppose she'll be able to receive a visitor in the next half hour?
I presume so, Mr. Whalen. But I'll know better when I've had a look at her.
Swell, let me know. I'll be in 820 in about 5 minutes.
All right. Oh, he's alive. Alive. Oh, thank heaven for that. I was so sure he was dead, and now... Mr. Vril. Oh, yes. I'm Miss O'Connor. I'm relieving Miss Andrews, the nurse that's been attending you. Are you feeling better, Mr. Vril? Better? Oh, yes, of course. I'm all right now. It was the shock, that's all. Yes. That submarine suddenly appearing and stopping the ship was quite a bit of excitement. But everything's quite all right now, Mr. Vril. There's no further cause for alarm, and the submarine was quite friendly.
Oh, yes, I know. It's not that, nurse. It was the man that they rescued. Mr. Jim Bradley. Tell me, is he quite all right?
Quite all right? I should say he is. He came bounding out of that boat and down the deck like a plunging fullback on a football team.
Oh, then I'd better get out of bed and quit acting like a shrinking violet.
But, Mr. Vril, the doctor said you were to have rest and quiet and not to get up until he said so.
Oh, never mind what the doctor said, nurse. I'm quite all right. I'm all over the shock and perfectly strong and healthy.
Well, you've certainly recovered quickly. But I still don't understand.
Oh, of course you don't, nurse. It's hard for me to realize that this whole thing isn't some fantastic dream. That man that just came up out of the sea was my closest friend, my partner in business, a dangerous business. We've faced death together time and time again. After our last case, I came on to Singapore ahead of Mr. Bradley. He followed a week or so later, but the boat he was on ran into a sudden tropical storm. He and another passenger were washed overboard. Ships and even a seaplane searched the area on the slim chance that they might have survived the storm. Not even the slightest trace of them was found, and, well, naturally, we had to face the bitter truth. They were lost at sea. dead. The whole pattern of my life was changed after that. I was completely lost. Then to be on my way home to America, and suddenly out of the sea, he comes back to life. Oh, nurse, you can't realize what this means to me.
I think I do, Mr. Vill. My folks were seafaring men. My father and the man I was to marry were both lost at sea. I'd know how I'd feel if some such miracle were to happen to me. Ha. I guess it's all right for you to get up, Mr. Vill. We don't need any doctor's advice on your condition now. So if you don't need me, Mr. Vill, I'll go now. I've got a message to deliver.
A message, nurse? What about?
You. Mr.
Me?
Whalen, our first officer, has been inquiring about your condition.
Mr. Whalen? Why, I don't know him.
No, I guess not. But he's been helping that Mr. Bradley adjust himself. Getting clothes and things. I guess Mr. Wayland is keeping Mr. Bradley informed.
Oh, here, now, hold on, nurse. Look, don't tell them that I'm getting up yet. Just say that my condition is improved, but no visitors for a while. I'll take care of the rest.
All right, Mr. Vill. Just as you say. But I wouldn't keep Mr. Bradley in suspense too long. He's probably very anxious to see you.
Oh, and one more thing before you go, Miss
O'Connor, miss.
Oh, yes, Miss O'Connor. There was a young woman rescued with Mr. Bradley.
That's right, Mr. Rill. She's up in one of the staterooms on this deck, too.
Do you suppose that she knows that I'm aboard?
No, I hardly think so, Mr. Vill. At least neither the doctor or Miss Andrews have ever had a chance to tell her. We wanted to know if she needed any medical attention, and she said no. But she did need clothes and things, so the chief stewardess is rounding up some things for her. She went straight to her cabin and said she wasn't to be disturbed until she'd bathed and gotten her change of clothes.
Oh, that's fine, Miss O'Connor, and if you could arrange it with the chief stewardess and anyone else who might see her, I'd like my being on board kept a secret from her for the present.
More surprises, eh?
Well.
Very well, Mr. Rill. I think I can arrange it all right.
Oh, thanks awfully, Miss O'Connor. I'd appreciate that.
Don't mention it, Mr. Rill. Well, I'll be running along now.
So long, Miss O'Connor, and thanks for being so nice.
Well, O'Connor, what's the verdict? How's the patient?
Well, Mr. Raylan, for your information, I have been instructed to issue the following bulletin on the patient's condition.
Hey, cut the formalities. That Mr. Bradley's a swell guy, but he's human like everyone else. He wants to see Mr. Brill pronto.
You don't have to tell me that. But my instructions are to tell you that the patient's condition shows marked improvement. But, no visitors for a while yet.
Oh, thanks a million, Irish. That's all I want to know.
While all this little byplay is taking place on board the liner, back in Singapore at the shipping wharves of the friendly Mr. Wang's steamship lines, the good news of Jim's safe delivery aboard the liner has been flashed to Jim and Lil's faithful friend, Mr. Wang, who immediately sends word to the newspapers. And when Kolu comes on duty at the docks, a big burly foreman greets him with,
Hi there, Kolu. Never mind starting to work. I've got something to show you. Come over here in a hurry.
What you have for Kolu, Mr. Greer?
Something that'll knock you flatter than a pancake. The boss told me to show it to you before you went on duty and then tell you that you needn't go back to work even if you were able.
Oh, that'd be good, Mr. Greer. What you got, show Kolu.
Yeah, I guess you'd better sit down first. When you read what I've got here, you'd fall down in a heap.
Good, Mr. Greer. I sit down, but take awful lot to knock Kolu out. Let me have paper, huh?
I tell. But it's like a good drink of heavy rum, lad. Better take it in small doses. There you are. Right there on the first page.
You mean this? Miss...
Yeah?
Van...
That's it. Yeah. Missing adventurer found alive. Thrilling rescue effected in mid-Pacific. Go on, read on.
No, Mr. Greer, you read Kolu. You read better.
Right home, my lad. Get hold of yourself. Captain Neely Matthews, commander of the luxury liner Monterey, wirelessed his officers here that a foreign submarine altered his vessel in mid-Pacific last night and put aboard 2 Americans. The commander of the submarine had taken off an isolated, uncharted island. The 2 Americans turned out to be Jungle Jim Bradley, a noted adventurer and explorer, and his female companion, Mrs. Catherine St. John. Or I suppose American fashion it would be St. John of
Jim.
Nahia.
Safe. He no drown. Oh, canta mawab. So let it be put on to. Tuan Jim be saved.
Well, shall I read you the rest, or is that enough of the good news?
No, Mr. Gray, read more. Kolu very happy now.
I knew you would be.
Yeah.
Too bad the old man can't see the expression on your face right now. It's the first time I've seen you look even halfway human.
Tuan Jim be Kolu, best friend. Kolu not care to live when he hear Tuan Jim die. Now Tuan Jim be alive, whole world be good for Kolu now. But you read rest, huh?
Right you are. There isn't much more. It says that 2 rescued Americans had been given up for dead after being washed overboard from the steamer Manila Merchant during a storm early last May. Jungle Jim Bradley, noted for his courageous exploits in the Orient, managed to keep himself and his companion afloat until they were washed ashore on a small uncharted island northeast of the Nahia group, where they were picked up by the submarine when it put into the island for fresh water. Both survivors were in good health and none the worse for their thrilling adventure, Captain Matthews reports, and they will proceed to San Francisco, the steamship Monterey's home port. Now then, how's that?
Oh, that be very, very good news. Make Missy Lil very happy, too. She be on same ship going to America. Everybody happy now.
And I'll bet the 3 of them put together couldn't be as happy as you are right now. I never expected to get even a smile out of you when you first came here. You look like a man condemned to die, but you certainly changed in the last 5 minutes. Why, you look like a different man. Why, it wouldn't surprise me to hear you burst out singing.
Maybe I do that. Sing American song you hear on radio.
Huh?
Happy days be here again.
Kolu has the right idea, for no song could better express the feelings of that adventurous triumvirate, Jim, Lil, and Kolu, than Happy Days Are Here Again. For although Jim and Lil are reunited, it won't be very long before Kolu rejoins them, and once again they will be setting forth on new adventures. Even now, as the giant liner rides the seas, there may be developments happening in some remote part of the world that will mean work for Jim, Lil, and Kolu. So don't miss the next episode in the adventures of Jungle Jim. Remember, you can follow these adventures in the full-color action pictures to be found in the Comic Weekly, the world's greatest comic supplement containing the best full-color adventure and comic pictures. Remember, no other comic supplement can give you the top names of Cartoonland like the all-star favorites to be found in the Comic Weekly. The whole family follow the fun and frolics of Jiggs and Maggie, the Little King, the immortal Donald Duck, as well as the exciting adventures of Flash Gordon and Jungle Jim. Join the 11 million adults and 6 million youngsters who every week find the greatest of home entertainment in the Comic Weekly, which comes to you with your Hearst Sunday newspaper. More thrilling radio adventures of Jungle Jim will be heard at the same time next week over this same station. Be sure to tune in.